Hello everyone, my name is Timothy Lee Grant. So we are going to continue the project that we have been working on a little bit. Yesterday, I was trying to get the project moving forward and I just was not feeling it at all. I was trying to figure out how. So here's my question fundamentally. I wasn't understanding. We have a front end, okay? This is a microservice. And then I have an API gateway, which is also a microservice. And then I have my two backend microservices that interact with the database. Why do I need two services? Like, why do I need the front end microservice and the API gateway? That doesn't make any sense to me. Because what I think I should be able to do is just have one front end gateway. And then that front end gateway interacts with either the producer microservice or the consumer microservice, which are my back end microservices. So the front gateway, right, combined, front end, API gateway, this should be able to be the single entry point in which the user is able to interact with. Okay, that qualifies, that's one thing. It renders the files like the HTML files or EJS, etc. Okay, it deals with authentication. Okay, and does whatever load balancing, stuff like that. Okay, that's the four things, right? Like, that's both things together. So why do I need to separate that? That doesn't make any sense to me. And I was also thinking, like, okay, well, if I separate them, how do I do the authentication part? Because, okay, the front end sends a request to the gateway, but now the gateway needs to keep track of who sent the request, but the who sent the request was the front end, not the client themselves. So I'm trying to figure this out. So that's what we're going to try to figure out today. We're going to try to understand this architecture a little bit more. So let's just come in here and let's just do it. Let's ask why do I need the API gateway and a front end as two separate microservices? I feel like rendering HTML or I'm gonna just slash EJS authentication. Yep. Single. Okay, what else does it need to do? Load balancing, I guess, maybe. But these two things are fundamental, like HTML, EJS, authentication, okay? And as a single point of usage, all can be done with just one single microservice instead of a front end and API gateway. Have a front gateway. Plus, if I separate them, I don't understand how user authentication will work because the API gateway will be receiving requests from the front end. And not directly interacting with the user at all. Okay. Take a drink of this. Okay. So, let's find my question. Here. So, okay. Reasons to separate. Separation of concerns. Front end handles UI. API gateway handles routing, authentication, rate limiting. Okay, sure. I guess right now what I'm trying to figure out is the authentication. Maybe if I can figure that out, I can just take it on blind trust that that's what we're supposed to do, but we'll see. Okay, so scalability, you can scale the gateway independently of the UI, okay? API gateway can serve both mobile apps, external, oh, I see, okay, so, fine. Gateway can enforce authentication before requests hit backend services. Okay, so yeah, if I just have a single point and then my front end can service like a web page or a mobile page or whatever type of page it is, and then just send it to the specific location, which is the API gateway. Fine. Okay. But you're right, it can be overkill if it's small. So maybe that's why I'm just feeling like it doesn't make sense, but in a larger application, it would make sense. So, fine. What about authentication? Sure. Let's look at this. You're absolutely right to question this. If the front end sends requests to the API gateway, how does authentication work? Yeah, I agree. In a split architecture, front-end handles login and stores a token. Okay. Let's try to think about that for a second. Okay. So it's talking about the split architecture, which means when we do have a front-end microservice and a API gateway microservice. So when they're split. Under that condition, what happens? The front end microservice handles login, okay? So the user needs to log in, and then it stores a token. So like a Java web token or session cookies. I forgot which one JavaScript uses, but that's what I'm thinking we're going to be going forward with on this project. So I'm going to have the front end, which is written in JavaScript, so Express, Node.js. Okay. I forgot how they do the authentication, but I know that they do. They have some way, right? Okay. Front end sends request to the gateway, attaching the token. Okay, sure. API gateway validates the token before sending or before forwarding it to the backend services. This works well, but adds complexity. You need token management. You need shared authentication between front end and gateway. Okay, fine. I'm using EJS and server side. Okay. Build a single front gateway microservice that renders pages, authenticates users. Okay. So front gateway is Node.js Express EJS, handles login, session renders, and calls backend services via Eureka. Okay. Although, fine. I'm trying to figure out, do I want to go straight into... I could develop it like this, where it's just a front gateway. Or I could just take it on faith that I would want to have an API gateway. I don't know what I want to do. Let's just start building the front gateway. Okay, so we're going to do this front end, and we're just going to assume that we don't need this API gateway, and we're just going to route it directly to our backend service. I don't like that, but it'll make it a little bit easier, and then later on if we want to add an API gateway, we can figure out how to do that. So let's just do it that way. So let's just ask it, how do you suggest I go about creating this front gateway? Okay. And we'll try to work through all of the problems that we encounter and figure out. My goodness, this thing bounces all over the place. Okay, so I need to render the HTML and the EJS. I need to handle authentication, and I need to actually send it over via Eureka. Now, I don't think Express had the Eureka, so I need to figure out, okay, well, what are we going to do here? So front gateway, and then we create a... So I already did that with this front end service. So we already have that. So basic Express, so this is creating the server, okay? So I'm going to come in here, and we have app.js, and come here, and we have app.listen right there. Okay. So now what I need to do, I don't have this thing right there. Actually, I should have it like this. Fine. Okay, so I might want to do this right here. App.use and then session. Is it capitalized? No, it's not. Session. Okay, and then JSON secret. I'm assuming this is like for authentication or something. Resave is false. Okay. And save is true. Okay. So, not sure what it does, but we'll figure that out later. Okay, so add authentication. So I am trying to figure out where I will put these. Home, login. So this is under views. Oh no, these are the different just HTML files. So first step right now, what we're trying to do is just get something that works. And then once we get something that kind of works, we can go and investigate like why it's working, how it's working, etc. Okay. So we're creating a route for login and another a post for login. So when the user wants to get a login, when the user wants to log in, they first need to get the web page to actually interact with it, right? So they need to do a GET request to the server to get the login page. Then they're going to submit, which is a post request, and they're going to post login with their information and credentials. So that's here. Okay, and then log out. Awesome. So this needs to be in here with the routes. Actually, it probably should be right there with the routes. So let's kind of do that. Let's put it here. And I'm just going to copy and paste these. Obviously, we'll need to change some things. Okay. And then I'm not sure if this is actually the best way of structuring things, because this is like login. All of these are logins, and I feel like it should be in a different file. Like it should be routes login, and then from that I route it. But right now I'm just trying to get something that works. Okay, so instead of app, we're gonna do router, right? Router.get, router.login, and router.get. Okay. Request and response. It should work. I don't know about this one. This one might not work. We'll figure that out. Response. Did I import Axios? No. So that will probably fail. Post. Username, password, which comes from up here. That's fine. And then request. Okay, so we'll redirect to the home page once it's been successful. If it's not, we tell them that it's invalid. Okay. Request.session user. I'm trying to figure out how does this keep the user authenticated. Okay. Now here is another, yeah, this obviously should be very, very much broken up, but for right now, we're not going to do that. We're just going to do like this, and instead of app, we are going to do router.get, and then we have products, and this will keep track of the user to see if they have a session ID, right? And then send it to this API gateway, or this API microservice. But that's not actually the microservice that I implemented, so we need to change that. All right, so now we are going to integrate Eureka for service discovery. Where services, don't put a breakpoint. Come on now. I remember doing something like this, but I can't remember where. Okay, so this one just says Eureka client. Oh, it's just a folder. Okay. App.js. So, I guess I have two questions. First question is going to be this one. Is this a global variable? If I change it in one file, does it change in other files? Is it the browser that's actually keeping track of this? Is it the browser that actually keeps track of this? Because maybe the browser keeps track of like cookies, and then that's how it's able to maintain some level of understanding and context of who it is. Okay. The second question is for the step 5, where do you suggest I put that and all of the other? Actually, I'm just gonna say number 2, what do you suggest the folder structure looks like? Wait, hold on. Okay. In the folder structure you gave me, I don't see where you put the Eureka service discovery. Okay. How does the Eureka JS client work? Okay. Let it do its bouncing. Okay. Ah, there we go. That looks more like it. All right, so this Is it global? No, it's not global. Oh, jeez, okay. It's part of request session object, which is unique to each user's session. Oh, okay, so that's kind of what I was meaning is global. Like, am I able to take it from one place and keep it in? Am I able to, like, use their ID as valid in multiple different locations in my code? Okay. When a user logs in, I set request session user something, okay? Express session stores the data server side in memory, okay? The browser gets a session cookie, usually connect session ID. On each request, the browser sends this cookie. Express session uses the cookie to retrieve the session data. So if you change this, it only affects the user's session. The other users have their own sessions, and I can access it. Okay, so where does Eureka go? Now it gives me the updated one. Okay, so index.js, this is, I'm calling it app.js. That's fine. Routes, we have products, okay. And then I have here eureka.js in services. Okay, so let's go to here, services, and I should be able to have something which is eureka.js. .js. Okay. Now I probably need to like actually export that, right? So I'm exporting it. And then I need to include it. Okay. Let's just paste that in there. Okay. That's always a good strategy, right? So then, okay, so what did I paste in here? I'm getting this Eureka client. I'm instantiating a new object, which is Eureka, and localhost here, enable. Am I telling it what my Eureka server is going to be? I think this is the default Eureka server. So when I run my Eureka, where is it? Registry, this one. When I run this, it will open on a port, a specific port, and I think it's that one. Does it say the default port? Is it application? Where is that? Resources, application properties, maybe? Let me move myself and see if I can. 8761. Yeah, okay, so that's kind of the default port for the Eureka server. I thought that number was kind of familiar. Okay, and we're in here. And we just added this one there. And it's almost midnight, so that means commit something. Okay. Git commit moving forward with creating a back end or a front end / API gateway combined into one single microservice. In the future, I might break these up into two separate microservices. Okay. Git push. Okay, there we go. So now I'm starting a client, okay? I'm starting this client. I'm starting that object or something. I don't know what I'm starting, but I'm starting something. Okay, so how does it work? Eureka is a service registry. Microservices register themselves. So I remember doing that. With Spring Boot, I just did Eureka Discovery, just annotated it, and it worked. But we're in JavaScript now, so that's not quite the case. Okay, so what Eureka JS client does, registers your service with Eureka, periodically sends heartbeats to stay alive, lets you query Eureka for other discoveries. So it operates very similar. Hold up. In my Eureka, okay. Let's come down here. Okay. So in this, am I just... Come on. Well, that's the opposite of what I wanted to do. There we go. There we go. So, in this, am I telling my own IP address? Because I probably need to change this. And I don't think it's 3000 either. I don't think I'm doing 3000. Right? Because if I run this, let me just cd into the front end service, and now let me do node app.js, is that right? Well, obviously that wasn't right. Oh, it didn't like session. Session is not defined. Okay. Well, I probably need to import it. That's probably what's gonna happen. All right, let's import it. And let's try it again. Okay. Did I need to do, yep, there it is. npm install this. Okay. Node package manager install this. Okay. Now node app.js. Okay. Localhost port 3000. Okay. Well, that's that's the default for my front end. I feel like actually I should kind of come here and do a dev notes.txt and then do like this, front end Microservice. IP address is local host. Port is 3000. Okay. And then what was the other one that we just checked? It was this registry. Microservice is IP address is local host as well, and then port was some strange number, but it was saved here, so let me go check that one out. It was this. It was 8761 was that one. And then I need to check what producer and consumer are running on. The other thing that I'm eventually thinking about doing, not right now, but once I get this a little bit more working, is I want a script that I create right here that will just run all of them. Like, it will start up the entire application. And that way I don't need to go into every single microservice and do start. Okay. But that's not for now. And let me just see if I can actually ping this. Does it work? Yeah, it works. Okay, cool. So, where were we? We're just doing that dev notes. Okay, so front-end service, I come in here and we have the Eureka, and we're telling it, hey, we're on 3000. Port 3000. So we're registering with Eureka. Okay. But I think I actually need to grab it, right? And that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing in here. So at the example discovering of a service, I'm not seeing this ever run though, actually. I'm not seeing that file you gave me ever run. I wrote it in services eureka.js, but I don't think I ever call it. Okay. Because I think I have to do it from, yeah, I think I need to do that. That's what I was thinking. Is just do this from my app.js here and then go like that. Yeah. So now it should register with Eureka, but I need to actually do okay. We're having this client.start, and then they do this. Let's just do that. Okay. All right, so now let's come here and do this. Okay, that's cool, I guess. Oh my gosh. Okay, problem making Eureka request. Could be that just I don't have the Eureka server running. Let's see, let me just come through here. Okay. So, new terminal, and then new terminal. So I want 2. And I want to go into my registry. So cd into registry, and then I want to run it. So maven w. Okay, spring boot run. Okay, let's see if it runs. Should. Okay, and now we are on that strange port, which is where it was 87. It's this one, 8761. Okay, so localhost at port 8761. Okay, so we are up with Eureka. That's good. Now let me go into my other one and let me go into front end. Okay, and now let me node app.js, do this. Okay, it says it's registered. Let's come here. I see a local host there. Hold on. Is that, no, that's not it. We're looking here, I think. Let's refresh it. Yes! Yes, there it is. There it is. There it is. We got it. We got it. We got it. Okay. Now I'm starting to see what's going on here. The other thing that was throwing me off is because we were using 2 different, and I did this on purpose. I wanted to use JavaScript and I wanted to use Java. Okay. I wanted to use it because I wanted to, the point of this project is to be able to understand microservice architecture and to understand it fully. I feel that I definitely need to use 2 different languages, 2 different frameworks to show that, yes, in a microservice architecture, this isn't a monolith. This isn't a single thing. These are separate things doing their own thing, kind of working together. And if I did everything in Java Spring Boot, I don't feel like that would have satisfied or like actually helped me intuitively understand it. But now, okay, we got that. Now I still don't understand what we're doing here. So I need to, so even now I have never done a successful call from one microservice to the other. I've only set things up in Eureka. So I need to now try to figure out how to actually do a call. Okay. If you want to discover services dynamically in other files like route handlers, you can import the client. Okay, so function get service URL, service name, const instances equal Eureka client dot. I don't know what that is. Okay. And I also don't quite know what the Axios is. How does Axios play into this? Okay. So, great question. Axios is your go-to tool for making HTTP requests between services. Once your app is registered with Eureka, you've discovered another service's address. Axios lets you communicate with it. Okay. So Eureka handles service registration, tells app that it's there, service discovery, where's service X. So Axios actually handles the sending of the data. Okay, so get that, and then I do this, and then where is Axios though? So discover the service, make a request with Axios. Okay. Let's what if I come in here and just do test.js, okay? And then do this, okay? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm gonna producer resource, okay. Let's come here and let's start that one. So can I just press that for a new terminal? So I go into producer resource and now I'm just gonna start it. So Maven W Spring Boot run. Okay. This should do its thing. Now it is running on which port? 8080. I'm gonna write that in my little notes, okay? So producer microservice is IP address localhost and port is 8080. Okay. There we go. So now I'm gonna look in my producer resource. I'm gonna find I want controller, and I just want something random. I just want this say hello. Okay. My producer microservice is running on local host 8080 and has an endpoint of. Can you write the file or files for me to use the Eureka to hit that endpoint? Okay. So now we're going to try to go in from front end and services, and now I want to do this test where I just call it. Okay. So assumptions, your Spring Boot is registered with Eureka. Okay. Should be. And let's look here. Let's see if it did register itself. There it is. Okay. I don't know why it says that, but that's okay. I don't know. Okay. File structure, service Eureka, service caller. Okay. Eureka.js, and I'll just delete this one. Or maybe I can just rename it and service caller, is that what? Caller.js. Okay. Service.eureka. It's what we had last time, I think. Okay. So now this one here should be able to it's not giving me the full thing because it's not even doing. Oh wait, yes it is. It's that right there. It's fine. Okay. So now from in here, I should have something like this that I can ping this route. So let me come in here and come in route here, and I have this. Do I actually need? I don't know what the, hold on. Inside of index.js, I create a call service. Okay. I don't know what that does at all. I don't know. Uh, can I just run this? I'm guessing it will crash. Node app.js. No, this is my producer resource. I want this one. Okay. Yeah, it's the one that I want. Yep. So, cannot find service Eureka. Okay. Services caller. Okay. Found for producer service. Okay. Probably because it's called producer resource. Okay. This. And let's run it again. Filled. Okay. So now, just copy and paste those. Okay. So, there's a classic Eureka naming mismatch. Okay, producer resource, producer service. Okay. Update my node. I already did that. That's not what we're trying to do right now. It's this one. Okay. So we put it to uppercase, okay. So it says that it should be working, but it's obviously not working. failed to get a response. No instances found for this. Okay, yeah. I'm not sure. I don't know, man. Didn't even run this line. I don't know. From my messages, does it look like it was successful? It's not successful, so what's going on? Yeah, could not retrieve this or this. Unable to retrieve instance for app ID. Producer service failed to get response. No instance found for okay. I don't know. Okay. Okay, I don't know, man. Index.js. Okay. Okay. Here. So, what's wrong? You're calling producer resource immediately after starting Eureka client. Okay, so when you do this, how to fix it? Option 1, add reach. Oh my gosh. Okay, move the call into a route. Yeah, this seems more like what I want to do. Yeah, that sounds better. And this was in here, so I don't want to do this. I want to get rid of those, right? Like that. Okay. Now see if this works. Okay. So I should be able to go to hello and see if I get it from the Spring Boot. So I should be able to go here on port 3000 and go hello. Failed to reach producer. Darn. Unable to retrieve instance. So, okay. You reached the index endpoint. Okay. The instance name is this. Okay. Okay. Confirm producer config. Okay. So producer here, resources here. Why does it say it's on this port though? Now I have to come in here and redo producer, right? Okay. Gonna run and do its thing, okay? And now, can I come back up here and possibly try the exact same thing here? Let me see if that does anything. No. If I come here, hello from Spring Boot. Okay. Okay. So that means that I was able to, from my front end JavaScript microservice, I was able to hit the endpoint of my producer resource in here and hit that. Okay. And I got that back. Awesome. So next steps is tomorrow, go through this and try to actually understand it. So I proved that it is working, and now it's time to actually go in and figure out, okay, well, how is it working? What is the architecture actually doing? We copy and pasted a lot of stuff. We just randomly put stuff in, and we were just trying to iterate really quickly so that we got something that works. Now we need to figure out, like, okay, what is actually working? So if that is interesting to you, subscribe to this channel. I would love to have you along for the journey, and I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of the day. My name is Timothy Lee Grant, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with that video. So see you guys.